Hello, this is Ruth Brunner. I'm here interviewing Bill Starck, and today is September 18th, 2019. And Bill, why don't you go and give us your full name, age, and place and date of birth.
My full name is William James Starck.
And you were the number what of
I was
how
the
many?
number 4 son
Of
6.
6 sons. Born to?
Born to Ted and Emma Starck.
All right. So, what did your family do to stretch the food, clothing, fuel in the 1940s?
Well, clothing, we had hand-me-downs. And my father had a blacksmith, and we just, struggled through the early years. We had all we could eat. We were never hungry. Clothes-wise, it was always handed down from one to the other. And we all learned how to work and keep everything up. And we just did what we had to do to survive.
So it's 6 brothers, right?
5 brothers.
You had 5 brothers. There were 6 boys in the
6.
family.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of activities did you and the brothers do?
Well, we worked. We had a big yard, and we had to maintain all the grass and all of that. And we had a garden, and we just worked on it. It was time for we could play baseball. We did some activities at night, like kick the can under the street light. We had no curb and gutter or sidewalks. We just played out in the streets or on the grass. But we didn't have any fancy anything like they do today.
So the kids were outside more in the summer or out on
Oh yeah, we were outside. We didn't in the house much.
Okay.
But, we all had chores to do. And we just had a family operation, and our mom and dad kept us busy, and we didn't get in much trouble.
Okay. So who's the oldest relative that you remember, and what do you remember about that relative?
The oldest relative was probably it could be 4 of my grandparents on my dad's side and my mother's side. My grandparents on the Stark side was in Berthoud. That's where they were at, and that's where they are buried today. And then my mother's side their name was Craning, and my grandmother passed away fairly early, but I did remember her. And my grandfather, they lived in Loveland, and that's where they are buried also. Okay. And my great-great-grandparents, which I did not know on the Stark side, on my mother's grandmother's side, was named Miller.
All right. So what are some of the first memories you have about these people, or just life growing up in Windsor?
We weren't around the grandparents a lot because we lived in Windsor. My folks moved over here in 1939, before I was born, and we just, every so often, we'd all get in the car and we'd go to Berthoud to an aunt and uncle's place or grandparents. And my grandfather was a rather small man, and then my grandmother, they just lived in Berthoud and they retired.
Uh-huh.
And we just every so often go over and visit them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. But then once in a while they would come over, not very often. And then on my mother's side, they never did come over, whereas went over there.
Went over there,
Yeah.
because they were older and that.
Yeah.
So who were some of your heroes when you were a kid?
Oh, I don't know as such as a hero as I loved watching and playing baseball.
Okay.
And we had a coach, his name was Ori Edgar, and he worked at the bank here for the Hickmans. And he told us a lot about baseball and a little bit about life. And he was just a good guy to be around, and he loved kids. And we played baseball with him. He was the coach.
Okay, and where was the baseball diamond at in the 40s?
The baseball diamond was where they just put the new cemetery at.
When they expanded it.
Yeah, where they expanded it. He used to take us out to the ballpark and we'd practice, but before we got to practice, he had little cans, and we'd go out there and pick up all the rocks off the field. Yeah.
So, you were the maintenance crew too.
He was everything.
So that's a great hero story. So what was school like? And with 5 brothers at school, were you all close in age, or?
Yeah, my oldest brother, he lives in Iowa City, Iowa, and he's going to be 85, I think, here on the 28th of September.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the 5th of September. Ted's the 28th of September.
Okay.
We just had a good family.
You had a good family. What was your childhood home like? I mean, what was the layout? Because you come from a long line of carpenters and builders. So
well, my dad was a blacksmith till he was 50 and sold out, and then he went to as a carpenter. But we lived back on Oak Street, and we had 3 bedrooms. My folks had a bedroom, and then we had 1 bedroom, and there was 4 of us in it. That's where we slept. And I had the other bedroom my 2 oldest brothers shared.
Okay.
But we had a large front room, dining room, and kitchen, porch. We had a double lot, actually, is what we had down there. And there was all in grass. We took turns mowing. It was so big you'd have to.
Was that push mowers?
Push mower to begin with. Then my dad bought a lawn boy power mower, and then we would fight to see who got to run it.
So was there room were you allowed to have chickens, milk cow, any of that?
We had chickens. We didn't have any milk cows. We just had chickens was the only thing. And they raised the eggs, and that's how we got that. And then my folks, when they got to a certain stage of their chickens, she'd go out and kill chicken, and we would dress it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Have chicken.
Have chicken and dinner. So, how did you meet your spouse, Nancy?
Well, that came through Carlene Schneider.
Oh, okay.
Carlene had an aunt that lived right across the street from Nancy's parents, and got to be friends, and she's the one who got us hooked up together.
And when was that?
I had to be about 1958 or 59, somewhere along there. 58 or 59.
So what was your wedding day like? Tell me about your wedding day.
Well, we got married here.
Married till 67.
67.
Oh, okay.
I kind of took off. I went my own way, and then I wound up in the service.
Okay. Oh, between that.
Yeah, I served in the military from November of 63 and November of 65. And then when I got back, I called her, and I think in 66 we got married. Was it 66? 67.
67.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we knew each other.
So you knew each other
Yeah.
well. What branch of service did you?
I was in the Army.
In the Army, and what was that like, or where did you serve, or deploy?
Well, I was a medic in the Army, and I went to Fort Leonard Wood for basic training. From there, I went to Fort Sam Houston, Texas at San Antonio for my medic training. And then I went to Milwaukee for a year, and then I got transferred down to Chicago for 6 months. And those were up there, they were missile sites that I was at.
Oh, during the Cold War situation,
Yeah,
or
no,
what
yeah.
What was your role or job?
I was just a medic. I took care of personnel. I taught some classes on, injuries and stuff like that. but I had nothing to do with missiles. But
Okay.
that's when they had missiles around the large cities in
Okay.
Chicago and Milwaukee. But I'm sure they're all long gone now.
What do you remember about the Cold War and the communism and missile sites?
Well, one thing I remember is uh, Cuba.
Oh, okay.
When there was a big problem with Cuba, and it wasn't long after that I got drafted, and then nothing ever really came about. It was just they were drafting a lot of guys, and then what really happened was Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah, see, and when I was in Milwaukee and Chicago, we had dog handlers up there, and a lot of those guys were shipped out to Vietnam. I never went to Vietnam, and the reason I didn't go to Vietnam was because I was called a short timer. In order to go overseas, you had to have at least a year, and I didn't have a year left in the military. Unless I'd have re-upped, and I didn't do that. So I didn't have to go to Vietnam. But I just took care of the personnel, and if I couldn't take care of them, I sent them over to public health. They had a contract with the government to take care of something I couldn't take care of.
So how were you trained as a medic?
Well, down in Fort Sam Houston, they taught us how to do blood pressure. We gave shots. We how to treat broken bones, how to treat a soldier that was wounded, for example, like a sucking chest wound, how to treat that, and a lot of different things like that.
Have you used any of those skills since you've been out of the military?
No, really, no.
So, probably glad.
Yeah.
Where were you when you heard that President Kennedy was shot? Do you remember?
Actually, I had just quit my job because I was going to go ready to go in the Army. That was in 1963. I was supposed to report to Greeley at the bus depot to go to Denver on Kennedy's, the day he got buried. But they called me before he was the burial ceremony. They said, "You stay put until we call you." And it was a couple days after he was buried that they called me, and then I had to report to Greeley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when you came back then, married Nancy, you had children?
I have two children. We have two
You
children.
have children, yeah.
We have a son, he's the oldest one, Travis. And then we have a daughter, that's Sarah, and 5 grandchildren.
All right. So what type of employment did you start when you came back from the military?
I went to work for an oil company, and then I maybe I was with them for, well, I worked for them part-time. I went back to school. I went back to UNC, and I graduated in, 72? Yeah. And things were tough in 72. You couldn't get a job. What they were really hiring was a lot of women.
Oh.
I had a, I had the district office manager at Denver come down, and he took my resume and went to Houston, Texas with it. He says, "I want this guy on my staff in Denver." I wouldn't do it. They hired a girl.
What was the job you were applying for?
I was going to be a sales representative, and just work the Denver area for whatever he wanted me to do at that time, and but they wouldn't hire me.
72. So what was your degree in?
Marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So what did you do with that first paycheck? You know.
You mean from?
Well, it could be when you were a kid, up through military, through.
Well, we always had a little. First paycheck probably I got was from a guy by the name of Bill Kisselman. He had a service station, and I worked in that service station when I got out of school, and worked there at the service station for a couple of years until I got drafted into the service.
Okay. So you're not going to say how you spent your money? Spend it all on Nancy or what? When you...
Well, no, after I got back out of the service, I spent it all on Nancy.
How about when you're in the service? Were you paid?
Well, you weren't paid very much.
Okay.
You know, I think my biggest paycheck was $76 a month. Well, didn't go very far.
Yeah.
But, you know, they fed us and they clothed us and we slept and everything like that. Hey, $76, you know, that's only a few dollars a day.
Yeah. So, all right. So the jobs you've held, what has been your favorite job and why?
The jobs I've held, I think, or the best one I held is with my two brothers in the construction company.
Okay.
I did all the sales for them. I also did all the figuring, or 95% of the figuring of the buildings, and I would go out and sell the buildings to the customers and stuff like that. Then when I wasn't doing that, I'd be out on the job working. But I enjoyed going out and selling the product.
Selling the product. What kind of buildings did the Starck brothers build?
Well, we build what they call a post-frame building, a lot of agriculture buildings. But we built the fire station up at Severance, the first one, which was a post-frame building. And then we built some buildings for nurseries. We built a lot of buildings for farmers where they store equipment or build them a shop. And storage equipment, we did an awful lot of work for Fagerberg Produce. Seemed like every summer when he was, always had something for us to do. And worked up there a lot. And this whole area, we went as far as Bayard, Nebraska, to put up a building for a farmer that lived here.
Okay.
And, that we tried to stay pretty local, and that's what we did mostly.
I know that the Starks have a lot of houses in town that are very well designed and built. Were you involved in any of those?
A few of them. Back in the 80s, we were building houses back in the early or late 70s, but in the 80s everything went south. I mean, everything just buckled. That's when Jimmy Carter was president, and interest rates went 18-20%.
Wow.
And then you couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
So we got out of the housing thing, and I would travel even on Saturdays when we weren't working. I'd go look for somebody to put up a building, and I succeeded in some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's how we got started. And after that, things started rolling. Yeah.
Okay. So your house on Walnut Street, between 9th, right on the corner of 9th and Walnut, did you design or build that house?
No, that was built actually by Urbis Brothers.
Okay.
And that was Alvin Sludhauer. He was the first owner. I was the second.
Second owner.
And well, my folks have built some. Well, where my brother Ted lives, and there's another one right close there that my folks built. My dad and his brothers built quite a few in town.
On 9th Street.
Yeah.
So.
And like my brothers, we built Vic Stevens' house down on the south end of town. Some others around, but we got out of the housing business because it was just so slow.
Okay. So tell me about some of the places where you've been happiest.
Been happiest?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. I always enjoyed being at home with the kids, with her. You know, there's times that we struggled, which was normally at that time. You know, these kids nowadays make so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to what we did. But, you know, we always had good time. We always had good friends. And we'd do a lot of stuff with just friends. And maybe we'd go to their house for dinner or our house. Or, you know, those were just good, happy times. And
What were some of the type of entertainments or fun that you found for as a couple or with your family?
I don't know, what did we do?
We took little vacations in the summer.
Yeah, we did some vacation. We took the kids up to Sheridan, Wyoming, over to the Yellowstone. We had them down at the Great Sand Dunes. We taken a trip to see her grandmother, but that was before the kids were born, and out to California with another couple. And then we traveled up Highway 1 on the coastline to see her brother up there. And then we did some trips into Kansas. She had a brother there. Well, all my brothers were always pretty close except my oldest one. And you never knew where he was at. He was traveling to some foreign country or living in, teaching in some foreign country. But we just did a little traveling. We did a little fishing, or my brothers, a bunch of us guys would get together and go up in Wyoming fishing. That was always a good time.
Our
So
social life was kind of the fire department.
the fire
Yeah,
department is
yeah.
what the fire department, you
Yeah,
were part of
we-
the volunteer fire department.
Yeah, we always had a good time. You know, nowadays I think a lot of the fire departments, it's a job. But we always had a good time. We like we had a big Christmas party, and the women would fix a big oyster soup and some chili, and then we would also go to some meetings at other departments. We had an organization called Northern Firefighters Association, and then every year we had a meet somewhere where we would race different types of races, and always took the kids, and we would fix it. My wives would fix a dinner. We'd put it all together, and we would just have a good time like that.
I used to see the volunteer fire department in the 70s practicing around town, close to the city park, for some of those races. What were they like? What were the competitions specifically on?
They were just like a ladder race. Sometimes we would hook up. We'd be on a fire truck, and they'd be going moving, and we'd all jump off. And one guy would hook up to a plug, and one guy would have a clamp to clamp it, and then two guys would go up the ladder, and you'd see how long it took you to get water on the other end. And they had other hose races, and we just went to we practiced on that in the summertime, and then we would go to Northern, and we always did. We had a lot of trophies.
Went to state.
Yeah, we went to state. They had state competition, and I don't know if I don't think they do that. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we would go up into the mountains. We were up at Snowmass and Sterling. We went out to Lamar, and we always had a good time doing that.
That's interesting. So, what is your opinion of computers and new technology of the 2000s, 2019?
Well, I'm not into the computer age. I've got friends that sit by a computer half a day and looking at that screen and doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to get out and do things. So we're not into the computer thing. She's got a cell phone that she could text to our daughter and our kids. I don't. I just got a little old flip phone, and that's all I need.
That's all you need.
I don't want to be into that stuff because I'd rather be out here reading a book. We had a computer, but we weren't using it, so I canceled it.
Okay. So let's, real briefly, we'll talk a little bit about the 50s, because you were, what, 10,
I was
15,
about 10 years old,
10 to 20
yeah.
years old. So, do you remember the polio epidemic?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. I know I've had some friends that got polio. One guy was on the fire department, it was Larry Hua. He wound up with polio. And Norm Jacoby, he farmed out here. He was really a good friend. Yeah, I lost a good friend when he passed away.
He passed away from
Yeah.
his polio.
And he passed away, we were, what, maybe married 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And he passed away, and he was really a good guy. And we used to be on a bowling team together, and that's when I was footloose and fancy free.
Do you remember the new rock and roll music of the 50s?
Yeah, I remember it. I just don't have any music talent. The good Lord never blessed me with. I can't sing. I never danced. I just didn't have the rhythm, and that was all right. Some people have to watch, and that was me.
Well, if you were a watcher, do you remember Sputnik and the first man-made satellite?
Yep.
What do you remember about that?
I just remember there was a lot of commotion or a lot of on TV about it because it put the United States behind the space program, and actually it ignited the United States program because that's when they started getting moving on it.
Getting serious.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, all right. Before we close, is there anything that you were hoping I would ask you about, or that you would like to discuss or tell us about?
No, we just enjoy our grandchildren.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. See, I got a grandson that had his birthday yesterday with me.
Oh, same birthday.
Yeah, and he just turned 13, and then we got a granddaughter that is a senior in high school, and she's, homecoming. She showed Nancy her new dress for homecoming. I like to watch my grandsons play football. I've got two of them playing football. One of them will play lacrosse. And then Saturday we're going to go see a granddaughter, the littlest one. She's 9 years old. 9?
8.
8? She's into soccer.
No. Volleyball.
No, volleyball. And really that's what I enjoy really doing. And they do well.